Welcome. Today we're going to be discussing aggressive twins and some ways to relate it to other techniques in the American Kenpo system. So the thing to consider in these videos is that it's not a comprehensive list and it's not family groupings. What we mean by not family groupings, a better way to think about it is that there are different avenues that you can take to explore relationships between techniques, and this helps uncover the structure of the American Kenpo system a little bit better. Okay, so let's talk through the strategy of aggressive twins, and that's related through strategy recognition, or different scenarios to employ the same strategy. So to start out, let's talk through what the actual strategy of aggressive twins is. So the person's pushing us, we see it, we recognize that it's in there, we anticipate it coming at us, we divert it out of the way, which closes off their center line. That's the first step. Second step is we open up that center line. Okay, that's step number 2. And step number 3 is we take advantage of the fact that we opened up that center line, and that gives us our strategy. Okay, so let's put the strategy in a different scenario. So the most common way Kenpoists will relate this is through attacking mace. So if you think about it, it's just strategy recognition. We see it coming in. So let's talk through the differences here. Instead of 2 in-flight minors, we're doing 1 in-flight major. So the biggest change here is the fact that it's 1 and the intent has changed, but other than that, it's pretty much stayed the same. But we're going to employ the same strategy, which is the cool part. We divert it out of the way. We are then going to open it back up. So this is interesting. We could have done it with our foot, and then our foot again. But we already did that in aggressive twins. If you think about it, that's actually pretty effective. Probably more effective than aggressive twins, because we're ending with that major. We're using our minor in a minor situation to open up the center line. But we've already done that. So in attacking mace, we decided we're going to do it with our hand. So we do that punch, do that grab, which then opened up the center line, and then take advantage of it. So we did those 3 things that comprise our strategy. So now let's take the strategy and move it into a different context yet again. So that's a good way to do this is from behind. So in this case, the opponent's going to be offset to us, so we can see it coming. So rather than divert them, we're going to divert ourselves through the dimension of depth. So they come at us, they close their center line, we throw that kick in order to open up that center line, and then we do that kick, or take advantage of the center line. So we employ those same 3 steps. Okay, so let's stop here and move on to a different idea of how to think about this. Keep in mind that's not the only ways. There are other ways. As we said, this is not a comprehensive list. So let's talk through anticipation. We mentioned that earlier. In this case, degrees of anticipation. So what does that mean? We are dealing with the middle degree of anticipation, meaning we're seeing it coming, we're dealing with it, and then diverting it or whatever we need to do to deal with it. There's another degree, which is the further end of the spectrum, or the furthest end of the spectrum, is they make it to us. We were distracted or something happened, and they actually made it to us, and rather than being in flight, it is now applied. The other end of the spectrum would be we see it before it happens, we preemptively deal with it, and then we go on from there. Okay? So let's show you those scenarios. So in this case, let's start out with the most logical, from behind. Okay? We're looking straight ahead, we don't see somebody behind us, and we weren't able to anticipate it. So they were able to make contact with us. So in this case, it's the push. So we have a technique that deals with that, which would be leap from danger. We actually get pushed from behind rather than anticipating and move it out of the way. So another way to think about this is we're making the assumption that they are trying to push us. But what if they're not trying to push us? They could have turned this into a major, an applied major, similar to what we did from the front from attacking mace. So this would mean we have to change. So in this case, we would do something like a cross of destruction, a falling cross, maybe even something like a circling wing, or even something like a twirling wing. And again, keep in mind, this is not a comprehensive list. There's more that you can do, but we're going to stop here and keep moving on. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. So we've gone from behind, but let's go back to the original positioning, okay, from the front. Why would you not be able to tell from the front? Well, maybe I'm talking to a camera or my buddy and they make it to us. Again, we weren't able to anticipate it. They were able to get to us. So we have to deal with it as we see fit. In this case, we're pushed to the floor. This gives us a technique like encounter with danger. The interesting thing about encounter with danger is the fact that it's relatively the same technique as aggressive twins. The difference being I'm horizontal rather than vertical. So I have to make changes just like we do in any situation that's different from a base situation. In this case, rather than going with the horizontal side kick, we go with a vertical side kick. Rather than going with a front kick, we do a slicing side kick, and then we do that back kick. And that's why we add that back kick to aggressive twins a lot, so that we can show this direct relationship to encounter with danger. Okay? But again, we're making an assumption that they're doing the push. But what happens if they didn't? I'm distracted again, and now they're coming at us, and instead of pushing, they do a grab. Same thing they did from the rear, now from the front. This brings us in to a whole host of new techniques, something like a heavenly ascent or a destructive twins. And again, there are a lot of techniques in here that can be done. We'll stop it at this point, but you can take this further and add new techniques as you see fit. Now, we've done this attacking two ends of the spectrum where we anticipate it and we didn't anticipate it, but what if we preemptively see it? We're looking at our opponent, we think they're going to do something, and we stop them before they do it. This brings us into something like a bow of compulsion. So if you want to recap this general video, we ended with anticipation, degrees of. We went from the far end of preemptive, the middle being we saw it and dealt with it, and the far end being they made it to us or applied it. Okay? Then we went through strategy recognition and put that into different contexts. Hope this video helps you understand the American Kenpo system just a little bit better. Thank you very much.